My self-centered parents skipped my daughter's first birthday party and bluntly declared, "Frankly, we don't care. We don't consider her our grandchild." I responded calmly, "Fine, but don't expect me to bail you out with money for your debts, bills, or emergencies anymore." My father laughed, unaware of the surprise waiting in their mailbox. For years, I'd been the quiet one, always opening my wallet for my parents. When they mocked me, I brushed it off. When they insulted my wife, Lily, I'd later offer weak justifications, saying, "That's just their way," or they didn't mean it. Whenever they needed funds for rent, car repairs, or made-up crises, I sent the money without hesitation. This pattern stretched back years, fueled by a warped sense of obligation, rooted in a childhood steeped in guilt and manipulation. My father's version of parenting was to humiliate me into submission, calling it toughening me up. My mother was subtler but no less damaging. When I married Lily, their disdain turned sharp. Lily wasn't from the right family, hadn't gone to university, and worked as a barista, which they deemed beneath them. I spent years trying to smooth things over, dragging Lily to dinners that inevitably left her in tears. I downplayed their harsh words, even when they slipped and insulted her directly. I told myself I was maintaining harmony, but really I was too scared to stand up to them. Lily never forced me to pick a side, but I saw the uncertainty in her eyes after every visit, wondering if she'd married a man or a child still chasing his parents' approval. Everything shifted when our daughter, Emma, was born. Holding her that first night in the hospital, I felt a wave of resolve. Here was someone I couldn't fail, unlike how my parents had failed me or how I'd let Lily down. Over the next few months, I made changes. I stopped taking their calls when I wasn't in the mood. I stopped sending cash every time they dropped hints about needing help. I put my family first, not out of anger, but duty. Then came Emma's first birthday. We planned a cozy backyard party with neighbors, Lily's parents, and close friends. Out of habit, I invited my parents, expecting little. Days later, my father called. Without hesitation, he said they wouldn't come. "We see no reason to. We don't acknowledge this grandchild." No explanation, no feeling. I didn't argue. I simply said, "All right, but don't ask me for money again." There was a pause. Then my father chuckled, as if I'd cave the next time they pulled their guilt card. He didn't know I'd already made my choice. 2 days later, that choice landed in their mailbox like a carefully sealed envelope. They weren't just missing a celebration. They were about to lose much more. The envelope was slim, but its weight was immense. Inside was a letter, not furious but definitive. It detailed every dollar I'd given them over the years, every slight I'd swallowed, every loan I'd let slide. At the bottom was a total, $92,700. I included a meticulous spreadsheet, organized and dated. I didn't ask for repayment. The goal was to show them the toll, not just financial, but emotional. But the real shock came earlier. I'd already cut ties legally. I removed them as emergency contacts, revoked their power of attorney, updated my will, and transferred our home's deed to Lily alone. Every financial or legal connection was severed. The envelope also contained a cease and desist order, barring them from contacting me, Lily, or Emma directly or indirectly. I expected silence or furious voicemails. Instead, my sister, Claire, called. We rarely spoke, but her first words were, "I got the same letter." She revealed our parents had been bleeding her dry too, her car payments, credit cards, even a loan they'd co-signed but never paid back. She sounded weary, like she'd just realized she'd been sinking. Then she said, "Mom called me in tears. She doesn't understand why you're doing this. She thinks she's blameless." What stunned me was what followed. Claire was done too. My letter had been her wake-up call. She and her partner were relocating across the country. Before they left, she asked to meet Emma, genuinely, without our family's poison. 2 weeks later, my father cracked, not with remorse, but with a curt email. "What's all this?" No greeting, no punctuation. I didn't respond. That email wasn't for me, it was a grab for control. Then the proxies arrived. Distant cousins, guilt-laden messages, even a spiteful note from my mother to Lily, accusing her of turning me against them. That was the final straw. I hired an attorney, secured a restraining order, and canceled every utility and service I'd been covering. Electricity, internet, their cell plan. I reported a car loan they'd taken in my name as fraud, which froze their accounts. The consequences were swift. My cousin, Mark, reached out. "I've been waiting for this." He shared how our parents had conned his father out of savings. Others followed, Lisa, Tom, even my aunt, who revealed my mother had pilfered jewelry from my grandmother's estate. The church they'd flaunted their virtue in. They were expelled after financial irregularities came to light. Their landlord hiked their rent when I withdrew as their guarantor. Soon they were selling possessions to get by. The silence that followed was liberating. No calls, no manipulation, just calm. Months later, Lily said, "You're not the same person I married, you're stronger." That validation meant more than any approval I'd ever sought from my parents. Then, a surprise. A handwritten letter arrived from my grandfather, who I'd assumed was long gone. He'd left years ago, unable to break free from the family's toxicity. He wrote, "I heard you did what I couldn't. If you're open to it, I'd like to meet the man who stopped it." I haven't decided if I'll respond, but one thing is certain, Emma will never need to write a letter like mine. She'll grow up with a father who's there, a mother whose content and weekends full of backyard games. That's what counts. Months later, life found a steady rhythm I'd never known. Peaceful, predictable, free from the chaos my parents once brought. Emma was growing quickly, her giggles echoing through our home, and Lily's small bakery was flourishing. The weight of my past felt like a storm we'd survived. Then another letter arrived, this time from a law firm I didn't recognize. My heart sank as I opened it, half expecting some legal ploy from my parents. Instead, it was short and direct. "Dear Mr. Thompson, we represent the estate of the late Eleanor Vance. Our records indicate you may be entitled to a portion of her assets. Please contact us at your earliest convenience." Eleanor Vance? The name was unfamiliar. I showed Lily, who raised an eyebrow. "Could this be a mistake?" she asked. I called the firm the next day. The attorney, a calm woman named Miss Harper, explained that Eleanor was my maternal grandmother's cousin, a great-aunt I'd never known. She'd passed away without direct heirs, and her will designated her estate to be split among living relatives. My parents had been deliberately excluded. "There's a property," Miss Harper said. "A small cottage by a river. It's simple, but it's yours if you want it." I was floored. Lily and I talked it over that night. A cottage, a quiet retreat far from everything. A place where Emma could play freely, where we could create memories untainted by the past. We decided to visit before deciding. The cottage and its secrets. The drive wound through lush valleys and thick woods far from the city's clamor. When we arrived, the cottage was just as described, modest, worn, but solid. The river sparkled behind it, serene and still. Emma squealed, chasing dragonflies as Lily and I explored. Inside, the air smelled of cedar and old paper. A bookshelf in the corner held a pile of faded letters. Curiosity won, and I opened the first one. "My dearest Eleanor, I've made a grave mistake. James and I have taken from the children, and now there's no way to fix it. I don't know how to face them. If anything happens to me, please ensure they know I never meant for it to go this far." It was signed by my grandmother. My hands shook. Lily rested a hand on my shoulder as I read the others. Each one was a confession, a plea for absolution, a thread of regret spanning decades. Eleanor had preserved them, perhaps waiting for someone to uncover the truth. A new decision. That night, as we sat by the wood stove, Lily broke the quiet. "What do you want to do with this place?" I looked at Emma, asleep in her arms, then at the letters on the table. The cottage wasn't just property, it was a piece of my family's buried history, a chance to shape what came next. "We keep it," I said, "but not as a hideaway, as a new beginning." Lily smiled. "Then we'll make it our own." The final letter. Before we left, I found one more letter, this one in my grandfather's handwriting, tucked inside a book. "Daniel, if you're reading this, you found the cottage, and the truth. I didn't leave just because of your father, I left because I couldn't face what we'd done. But you've done what I couldn't, this place is yours now. Fill it with better memories." I folded the letter and tucked it into my pocket. Outside, Emma laughed as she tossed stones into the river, the sunlight dancing on the water. For the first time, the past felt truly behind us. The stories we create. We renovated the cottage gradually, turning it into a haven for our family. Lily painted the walls in warm hues, and I built a swing set for Emma. The letters. I kept them not as a weight, but as a reminder of what we'd overcome and what we'd built instead. Sometimes, when the breeze whispers through the trees, I picture my grandfather sitting on the porch, giving a quiet nod of approval. And for once, the silence feels like peace. If this story moved you, please share it with others and consider following for more heartfelt tales and real-life journeys. Your support means everything and helps us share more stories like this. Thank you for reading, and I'll see you in the next one.